Hello and welcome back. So in this episode, we're looking at how to determine what the primary key column is called. So we're going to be reading a lot from our employees table, but like I said earlier, I don't want this system to be dependent on what table names and database names. So the best thing to do is to create variables for these things so that somebody just needs to change at the very top here and everything else falls into place. So for example, I want the table name to be saved over here as like this, employees, so that once you change this table name, everything below here is adjusted accordingly. So I'm going to put a variable there instead, like so. Order by, now this one should be determined by the primary key. So here I will just say primary key underscore key be equal to, I will put an empty string for now, or I will assume it's ID because that's usually what it is. So copy that and put that there as well. Okay, so now that we've replaced that, and let's also replace the database underscore name be equal to, in this case it's my data, like that. So having this data in one place like this helps to change it when the time comes, or maybe you may want to read it from a database and add it there. It makes things easier. So database name, I'm going to copy that and put it here. Okay, great. Now we need to figure out the primary key. So how exactly do we do that? So here we have a way to run a query and then get a result from that query. So I want this very system here to work for me. So I'm going to copy this whole thing here, copy, and let's come down to this place since we know it works up to here. Okay, so I'm going to paste that there. So I'm going to say determine primary key. Now the only problem with doing it here is that we need the primary key by the time we get here, so which means we have to do it somewhere here. So what we're going to do instead is create a function, because we don't want to, we may need it multiple times. So I'm going to say function primary key get primary key, like so. I will paste like that. Okay, so remove this order by, because that's what we are looking for. We're looking for the primary key, so which means we don't have it. So what I want instead, I want to run a query called show tables. Oh wait, show columns from our table. Since we already know the table, that's okay. So I want to see the columns from that table. So then we'll run all this, and here I'm just going to say return ID. If all fails, we return just ID, like so. Okay, but if things go well, we're going to end up here. And what do we do here? While loop. Okay, so let me remove these two here. I want to echo out what row contains, so I'm just going to say print readable, print r row, like so. Okay, that looks interesting. Then let's run this get primary key. So we're going to run this right at here after we make the connection so that we determine the primary key. Get primary key. Okay, let's put that here. All right, so there we go. I will refresh this, and undefined variable table, I get errors here on line 58. So where are we on line 58? So it's telling me that table is undefined. Oh, because this is inside a function. So let me put table here because apparently we need it. Let me come back here and put it there as well. Refresh. Okay, undefined variable con. Okay, we needed that as well. So let's do the connection. I don't want to use global variables, so I'll need to pass them in there. Paste here as well. Okay. I want these variables to be local so that if I move this function to another project, it will still work. I just need to supply the values there. All right, what else do we need here? I think that should do it. Refresh. Okay, very good. Now we have useful information. So look what we got here. We got an array with, let me zoom in a little bit here. So the results we got is one array has a field of employee number. And then if you look here, there's a key, and you can see the key name is primary there. But in here, you see the key is non-existent, and some of these have a key called mu, which is I think multi-tree or something. Okay, so we can see that the primary index is here, and it also has extra, which is auto increment like that. Okay, so what we want is just to find out if the key is a primary key, and if it is, then we get the field name. So let's just run a simple if statement. So this is an array, so good. So I'm going to say if right here, if row, what's this, key. Why do I keep making that mistake? So key has a capital K here, so there we go. If row key be equal to PRI, like so, primary key, then this is our guy right here. So instead I'm going to return the row. Let me copy row key here. Boom. So once I run return, then the whole thing exits. So return field, this one right here. So let's put that field here. Okay, great. So this would tell us what the primary key is. So nothing to echo out here anymore. And what I would do here is just replace primary key with this, and do that is equal to, and then all I want to do now, for as long as I'm able to read, as you can see here, we can't read the data anymore. That's because primary key here was ID, which doesn't exist, and so it didn't read anything. So if we are able to return some data here, we know that it actually worked. So refresh, and the data is back, so which means it actually got the correct primary key. If we want to confirm, we can simply echo out primary key here. So I'm just going to say echo primary key. And once I load the data, I will get the primary key as the first thing that is sent. But because there's too much data here, let me just do this, save data. Okay. And then I will get, well, I got nothing. But why? Let's go down here. Let's see. Echo primary key. So why I not get primary key? uncaught type error. T-body children is undefined. Why? Refresh. Oh, so it didn't load anything here. Oh, that's because employee number is there. Okay, it is showing as employee number there. It's disturbing my JSON data, so let me remove that. So we've figured out how to get our primary key from the database. All we need now is to be able to save the data using that primary key over here. So we're going to do that in the next video.